Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the morning show. I hope you're doing well this morning. I thought I had an echo. Oh, I do have an echo. There it is. That's what I was wondering it was. Let's go ahead and restart that recording real fast, shall we? And for those that are listening live, I apologize sincerely for what we have going on right now. Sorry, technical issues. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Caffeinate. My name is Samuel Adams, and I hope you're doing well. Welcome to the show. For those that may not know what this show actually is, it's actually a morning show that I host every single morning right here on Mixer.com/The Samuel Adams for you to keep up with all of the gaming news that has happened over the course of the past 24 hours and check it out in news format in the same way that you would watch the morning news on your local television, in the same way that you would watch something on CNBC or whatever. We are checking out all of the gaming news that you need to know to make it through your day in the most satisfying / nerdy way possible. For those that are listening to podcast services and or the VOD after the stream ends, thank you. Thank you for checking it out. If you want to watch live along with us, Mixer.com/The Samuel Adams every single morning, 6 a.m. Monday through Friday. It's always a good time. We're really getting things going over here on Mixer. I'm excited to see what the future does hold for this little ordeal that we're doing right now. It's pretty exciting stuff. However, today is going to be somewhat of a slightly light news day. I have a couple of stories here, but really, yesterday was relatively slow as far as news goes. There was a lot of stuff that was, coming out after the fact. There was a lot of stuff that was discussed in the space overall. A lot of opinionated things, but as far as genuine news at its origin, where it's going to be very impactful for your life, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But without further ado, I suppose if there is no more housekeeping, we'll go ahead and jump into what we've got. That was the final story that we'll be discussing. Starting off with an article from Rolling Stone's Glixel. Now, for those that don't know what Glixel is, let's back up for a minute. Glixel is a relatively new little project by the guys over there at Rolling Stone, who are actually going to be starting up a little gaming spin-off of Rolling Stone because gaming has become such a large player in the space. And overall, it's got some pretty good articles. It's got the same kind of draw that Rolling Stone actually has, where it has in-depth articles, but stuff that's easy to understand. It's stuff that's interesting. They do interviews. They do news. I would highly recommend checking out Glixel. And also, I follow them on Twitter, which is where I get the majority of their little articles coming through my feed, you know. But with that being said, let's go ahead and check out this article that says, Ark Survival Evolved is coming to the Nintendo Switch. Game hits this fall. A dinosaur-centric action survival game, Ark Survival Evolved, is coming to the Nintendo Switch this fall, the game makers announced today during Epic Games' GDC press conference. The news comes about a week after developer Studio Wildcard announced that the game is coming to Android and iOS mobile phones. In Ark Survival Evolved, players are dropped into a prehistoric land and must craft items, build forts, tame dinosaurs, and hunt to survive, all while trying not to be killed by the setting, its creatures, or other players. The game was officially released last summer on Linux, Xbox One, PS4, OS X, and Windows. knows, Ark Survival Evolved for mobile is playable at the Unreal Engine booth this week during GDC. So, this is a relatively interesting little news story, but not one that I believe is, shocking to anyone. However, I am curious about how well this game is going to actually fit on something like the Nintendo Switch. Not that it isn't going to do well, but at the same time, I just don't know that the Switch needs all of these games. Is Ark Survival Evolved a game that actually caters itself to being on the Switch? Can they rework it to where it actually does fairly well on the Switch and performs well? I suppose it's possible, and as the article mentions, this comes just a little, about a week after the mobile version of the game is announced. And of course, that's been all the rage lately, is to talk about how crazy it is that PUBG and Fortnite are two games that are actually fairly decent on mobile phones. And so whenever you take that into consideration and you see what Ark is trying to do here, it's not out of the realm of possibility that they could genuinely bring their entire game over to the Nintendo Switch. My question here is, will it actually be the full version of the game? Is it going to be something that is, exactly what you want it to be? Is it going to be something that is significant? Is it going to be something that is fun to play in the long run? Or is it going to be something that's kind of like a cheap cash grab? In the same way that Payday 2 kind of didn't do so hot and isn't doing so hot on the Switch just because of the fact that it does feel very cheap. It is missing a lot of features. It feels like a game that was ported to the Switch in an effort to go ahead and increase revenue, etc., etc. That's the question that I have now. Whether or not my fears are, grounded in anything, I suppose we'll just have to wait and see. But it certainly is a weird fit for Ark to be coming to the Switch. Not that it isn't going to work. I'm just curious about why. I guess it's just to reach the highest number of players, perhaps. Who knows what the sense is behind this? But when it comes down to it, now, for those that are fans of Ark Survival Evolved, you have the chance to finally play the game on that console that has been taking the world by storm. We have gotten some numbers in as of yesterday through the NPD group where the Switch is essentially the most played console of all time in the shortest amount of time, something along those lines. There's an install base that's higher than any other console that has ever been before. And that's a mind-boggling revelation to have whenever you're talking about a company that had the Wii U just a couple of years ago, where we were wondering if they would actually still be functioning in 2018 in the same way that they always were back in the day, whenever Nintendo really did establish itself as a home name, as a name that everybody knew in the gaming space and outside of it. Nintendo is a company that is universally known. And to see games like Ark Survival Evolved come to the Switch, to see games like SteamWorld Dig 2 and all these other small little indie games on top of big AAA games coming to the Switch, that's something that I wasn't really prepared for this console generation, at least for Nintendo, and it's good to see because I think that's going to save them in the long run. As a little side note, the third-party support that's been coming to the Switch lately is more than a lot of people expected, including myself. I feel like if the Wii U had been more open to having ports to it, then perhaps more and more people would have bought one and it wouldn't have ended in the way that it did with the Wii U. However, not many people bought a Wii U, obviously. The Switch feels more sleek, feels more stylish. It's a portable console as well as a main gaming console. If you want it to be, you can plug it into the dock and play it on your big screen, whatever you want to call it. You can do all of these things, and the Wii U just simply wasn't there yet. And so I feel like for that reason, there is much higher amount of appeal with the Switch, and that's why a lot of developers are bringing their games over to it. With that all being said, best of luck to the devs doing Ark Survival Evolved. I think it could actually turn out to be a pretty decent little initiative here if they do it correctly. Moving along to Rock Paper Shotgun's article that says Fortnite's replay editor turns glory hounds into directors. This is an article by Dominic Terrassen, I believe, Terrassen, maybe. I must admit that Fortnite, or Battle Royale shooters in general, are not my scene, but I've always been able to appreciate a good replay editor. It's one thing to play back a match for highlights, but another thing entirely to be able to cut, pan, and frame shot after shot for maximum drama, and to be able to analyze exactly what your opponent did so wrong in order to get killed by you. I like the way that he worded that. As part of a general suite of upgrades coming to the Unreal Engine 4, Fortnite will be used as a showcase for the new replay editor tech before the tools become available for all Unreal developers to use later in the year. Within a shiny new trailer cut with the tools, along with its making of dissection, I suppose we will take a look at that, take a little gander, just fast forward through that a little bit. So essentially, this is the kind of thing that you can do with this technology. You can pretty much just create little clips that are highlights. You can set yourself up at any point in the map, really highlight your skills, highlight what you have the capability to do. And I think that's a cool little feature that is a long time coming for Fortnite, because it is so significant in the gaming space, where everybody's playing it, everybody likes to show off their skills and show what they're capable of. And to be able to make videos like this and to do slow motion, to do camera tracking, to do all these things is super exciting. Now the question is, will this stuff come to mobile? Will this stuff come to the mobile port of the game? And I don't think that it will. I would be very shocked if the editing software actually did come into the mobile version of the game. However, this is guaranteed on things like the Xbox One, the PlayStation 4, the PC. This is a no-brainer. It just simply works. And from the consoles, as well as obviously the PC, you can share your gameplay directly to your social media of choice. You can share your gameplay directly to YouTube, to Twitch, occasionally to Mixer if you're playing on Xbox. You can stream all of these ways. And so to construct a little highlight reel, and save it to your Xbox and start off a stream with that, or to construct a little sizzle reel and maybe create an intro for your entire stream if you want to do that, or just make a YouTube video that could very well go viral. Show off the skills that you have, and it doesn't have to go viral or anything like that. If you want to just capture an amazing kill that you got and share with your friends later on, that's another way to use the software. It's all what you make of it, And so it's cool that they are finally introducing this. I'm excited to see actually how it's going to be received in the long run by other games, other people that are doing, creating games through Unreal Engine 4 that could use something like a replay editor. I don't know what games are in development that use Unreal, but I know that there are a ton of them. I know that there are a lot of games that use this kind of technology that probably could take advantage of the fact that they now have a film editor in it, pretty much. It could very reasonably be something that is a major player in the game, and it could be the game changer for Fortnite that pushes it to the next slot. It could push it even further than it already has been pushed, which is, an impressive little thought to consider. But in a game that is so focused on, creating an experience that is able to be shared, able to be streamed, able to be experienced together, it seems like this is a no-brainer. And so kudos to the guys over developing Unreal 4 that are putting this thing into the game. Can't wait to play it out, or to try it out whenever I'm playing the game later on in the week or whenever it launches. It says it's coming soon, so the next couple of months maybe we'll see what happens. Moving along, there are new Rainbow Six Siege operators, and it appears that they have possibly been leaked. New operators are definitely on the way, and this might be our first look at them. This is coming to us from GameSpot's Chris Pereira, a guy that is a frequent article writer on the show. The latest operators for Rainbow Six Siege were only released earlier this year, or earlier this month even, but already players are looking ahead to what's next. We know we can expect more new operators in the next seasonal expansion, but it appears we've now gotten an early look at some of them courtesy of sleuthing fans, as shared on Reddit by user Mr. Donald Duck, excuse me. Images and names of 2 Italian operators have been discovered in the PC version's files. Essentially, we get placeholder images that show what each character looks like and what their name is: Alibi and Maestro. Alibi is seen flanked by 2 translucent silhouettes that resemble her, while Maestro is seen with some kind of backpack and shotgun shells hanging from his chest. Prior to this, Reddit user Artex3 shared information from the game files that may have hinted at what kind of gadgets to expect from the operators that we now know are likely to be Alibi and Maestro. These included references to holograms, decoys, and bulletproof cameras. The former 2 seemingly match up with Alibi's picture and suggest she'll be able to fool enemies with fake versions of herself. Maestro, then, would be left to reinforce cameras. Bear in mind that these leaks may not necessarily turn out to be what we see from Season 2 of Year 3, and that things could always change, but it's not uncommon for details on new operators to leak in advance of Ubisoft officially revealing them. Rainbow Six Siege received the big Chimera update, earlier in March to kick off Year 3 of the game. That included 2 new operators in the limited-time co-op Outbreak mode, which is playable until April 3rd. We don't yet have an official date for when the next season begins, but a new Rainbow Six Siege update was recently released. Exciting stuff right here. Very exciting stuff right here, because it's always good to have a little leak. Everybody gets excited whenever there is a, something that they aren't supposed to know. It's always tempting to check it out and see exactly what that is. And so it appears that we're getting 2 relatively interesting operators for Rainbow Six Siege. I love the concept of the one that has decoys. I think that's going to be a fantastic little addition to the overall experience. I think that's going to be a game changer overall. And also the idea of reinforcing cameras is one that I never really considered whenever we're talking about Rainbow Six Siege, but it's one that fits. You know, it just kind of makes sense. That whenever you're talking about what you can do with your operators, to reinforce cameras is really, literally, I know I say this often, but it's a game changer for the entirety of a Rainbow Six Siege match. To be able to see where your enemy is coming from, to be able to plan your attack, and to be able to really defend in an effective way, you have to have some cameras. And so if everybody takes out, every camera that you've got, well, then you're kind of SOL. You know, you're going to be defending blind. And to be able to reinforce those would definitely be a benefit in the long run. I believe that that's going to be something that is interesting in the competitive scene, which is a big part of what Rainbow Six Siege is these days. Competitive is, I would say, probably about 50% of the game overall. Competitive is a big factor in what they've got going on over there. And so with these new additions, it could very well change the balance. It could change how it's received by people. And so, with the Chimera update, we'll see what happens with that. You know, obviously, it's been very popular. It's brought a ton of people back into the game. And that population of the game was already relatively large. So, it's very cool to see that all these changes are being made. And yeah, for some reason, we're watching Monster Hunter World gameplay now on GameSpot.com. Kind of an interesting little turn right there. But who knows whenever Alibi Maestro will come. However, I would say that it's within the next couple of months, because we will be seeing much more about this. More than likely, it's some kind of live event where they are doing a competition within Rainbow Six Siege, but we'll just have to wait and see. Next up, coming to us from The Verge, Fortnite surpasses PUBG in monthly revenue with $126 million in February sales. The free-to-play survival shooter is raking in cash from in-app purchases. This is coming to us from Nick Stat at The Verge. Epic Games Fortnite is making boatloads of money on in-app purchases, taking in $126 million in the month of February and surpassing the monthly revenue poll of competitor PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds for the first time, according to the game analytics from Superdata Research. The news should come to no surprise, to those who have been following the meteoric trajectory of Fortnite and its popular Battle Royale style game mode, which puts up to 100 players against each other on a deserted island in the last person standing contest. Though Epic borrowed the concept of parachuting onto an island and competing against its large number of players from PUBG, the developer has a few key advantages over its PC-focused rival. For one, Fortnite is free to play, so while PUBG earned almost as much revenue in the first month of February with $103 million in sales, most of those sales are one-time $30 purchases for the software license of the game itself through Steam. Fortnite, on the other hand, makes a vast majority of its money on an ongoing basis from in-app purchases, mostly of cosmetic items like goofy character skins and emotes, which is 100% true. PUBG also allows people to spend money on cosmetic items, but developer PUBG Corp / Bluehole, hasn't ramped up that initiative quite as fast and successfully as Epic. The developer announced this month as it plans to add emotes to the game in the future, something Fortnite has had since its Battle Royale game mode launched back in September. Another advantage Fortnite has is its multi-platform accessibility. The game launched on both PS4, Xbox One, and PC all at the same time last year, and just this month it added iOS in an invite-only beta phase. Also, Android is coming soon, but that's none of my business. Already in roughly 1 week, mobile analytics from Sensor Tower estimates Epic has pulled in as much as $1.5 million from the iOS port alone. Fortnite also has an easier learning curve and is more kid-friendly thanks to its cartoonish looks. Those factors have combined to make Fortnite a bona fide social phenomenon, inspiring high school exams and finding its way into sports celebrations, writes Superdata Research in his blog post. The title's recent mobile launch also appeals to young players without access to the game-ready PCs or consoles. Superdata also makes a good point that PUBG suffers from the problems independent of Fortnite's success. And I quote, "Cheating in PUBG remains rampant and Bluehole has been forced to spend resources fighting this instead of creating new content and polishing the core gameplay," the firm explains. And that's pretty much the gist of the story right there. And again, this is just one of those stories that I've been covering for the past few weeks where Fortnite just continues to do well, it continues to rise, and now we have genuine evidence of that happening. We see where $126 million in revenue is coming in from a game that is free to play. You don't have to pay anything to play this game, and it's making $126 million in sales. that is a mind-boggling number, one that is admirable, one that is respectable, and one that I suspect will continue to rise, especially with the iOS version of the game being in this invite-only stage, and also on top of that, with the Android version coming soon. I think that's going to be a big factor in the ongoing success. But obviously, to see it going past PUBG is nothing that I ever expected to happen whenever the game was announced back in September. Obviously, Fortnite has been a thing for a while longer than that, but when it comes to the Battle Royale mode that makes it so popular, when it comes to what the bread and butter of the game actually is, whenever I heard that announced, obviously, PUBG, kind of, the guys over there at Bluehole, saw what was coming. They knew that this was going to be a major player in the game, and so they tried to stop Fortnite from becoming a big thing. I specifically remember them rebuking the use of the Battle Royale name within the title, and everybody just did this giant kickback because it made PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds feel dirty. It made them feel like the bad guy, so to speak. Real Teebs, how you doing, man? Long-time listener, first-time caller. Hey, bud, how's it going? Welcome to the Mixer chat. I hope you're doing well. Just so you know, recording this as a podcast, I still interact with the chat, but if it takes me a hot second, I do apologize. Yes, so with PUBG earning this much money right off the bat, very exciting thing to see. Or with Fortnite, excuse me, earning this much money right off the bat through microtransactions and skin purchases. Pretty cool stuff. I'm excited to see where the future takes this game, but I also played the iOS version of the game, and overwhelmingly really interesting to see it kind of evolve and change to become a genuinely fun experience on mobile. I never thought that I would see this. The real Thebes in the chat, excuse me, Teebs, I apologize. You have a fantastic voice. I'm in broadcast myself. Do you do voice work? Not professionally, really. I've done YouTube and Twitch for years, but I'm planning on getting into that. If you ever have any work, give your boy a follow. I will be here waiting for you. Sincerely, I would love to do that kind of stuff. But yes, it's exciting stuff to see Fortnite doing so well, and especially when it comes to the monetary side of things, because it simply deserves it, you know. It simply deserves it. Fortnite changed the game, and it deserves that kind of recognition and that kind of monetary return from that. I genuinely think that it's going to be a fantastic, really cornerstone for what the gaming industry has coming down the line, especially as far as mobile ports go, because people are going to be all over this. You know, everybody loves a good mobile port, and this is genuinely a solid one. So, with that being said, it's pretty exciting to see. Moving along, we have a new update from Charlie Intel talking about the remastered version of Modern Warfare 2, and those that are longtime fans may in fact be disappointed. According to sources, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 Remastered has no multiplayer not developed by Raven. This is coming to us again from Charlie Intel's Kashav, whatever he may be called, or she, I suppose, but this is a bit disgruntling. There has been an update that says Eurogamer has posted their own article stating that their sources have also confirmed that Modern Warfare 2 Remastered is real and it does not have multiplayer included. So, rumors started swirling this past week about a possible Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 remaster that could be incoming in the near future. The first rumors started after a listing appeared on Amazon Italy last week, with support channels for some large retailers following up with the possible additional pre-order dates. However, Charlie Intel has learned new information about Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 Remastered from a source that sent us materials from a Raven Software employee. The information states that, and from this point on, I'm just going to call it MW2, that MW2 Remastered does not have a multiplayer mode. It is a campaign-only remaster according to the material Charlie Intel was sent. We believe this information to be accurate. This information would actually line up with the Amazon Italy listing. The listing stated that Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 Remastered would cost around $25, which is a lot lower than what Activision charged for Modern Warfare Remastered in 2017. They launched that for $40 in June of 2017. The game featured both single-player and multiplayer, having a price cut almost in half for the Modern Warfare 2 Remaster, would support that the game is not the full game remastered. The materials sent to Charlie Intel also stated that Raven Software is not developing Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 Remastered at all. Although Raven Software did develop the Modern Warfare Remaster in 2016, it does not appear they are working on this title in any way, according to the material CI reviewed. There are some rumors that Beanox, I suppose, I don't know, the team which assisted Raven Software in developing the campaign portion of Modern Warfare Remastered and previously developed Call of Duty Black Ops 3 for Xbox 360 and PS3 in 2015, could be working on Modern Warfare 2 campaign remastered, as the studio has been on a hiring spree for COD-related projects over the last several months. Numerous job listings on Beanox's site states the studio is currently dedicated to the development of the Call of Duty franchise. It's not yet clear what COD titles Beanox is involved with as of now. Activision has not announced any official dates about a possible Modern Warfare 2 remaster. We will update as we learn more. This is so disappointing. When it comes to a Call of Duty game, I want to make it very clear. When it comes to Call of Duty, there is the campaign, but 9 times out of 10, you are going to skip that and go straight into the multiplayer as soon as you get the game. And obviously, there may be a thing that pops up and says, you should play the campaign first before you end up going into the multiplayer. And we all see that thing and we all go straight past it. The bread and butter of COD is definitely the multiplayer. To see it being remastered, to see Modern Warfare 2, one of the standout multiplayer games of our time, to see it coming and to see it getting released as just the campaign is almost like releasing some kind of, well, I was going to say releasing the Bible and just putting out the Old Testament and not putting out the New Testament. You know, it's like they go hand in hand. They all function together. You can't just have one and not have the other one. They don't exist separately. It's going to be a major factor regardless of, you know, whether you can't separate them. They have to be campaign and multiplayer. They go hand in hand. To have them separated takes the value out of this entire remaster. I don't want this project. You know, like I loved the multiplayer of Modern Warfare 2. I loved the campaign of multiplayer, or the campaign of Modern Warfare 2, but I don't need them separate. I need them together, and I would gladly pay upwards of $40 or $50 just to have that entire package that I had back in 2009 when the game first came out. I combined those two into one little statement there. I genuinely believe that Modern Warfare 2 Remastered is going to be coming out in 2019 in the same way that we saw Modern Warfare Remastered coming out in 2017 as a standalone, which would mean that the game, supposedly, if it goes along the same lines as the original Modern Warfare Remastered, should come out this year and then be released in a standalone format next year. Will it be $25 and just the campaign? I sincerely hope not. That may be more affordable in the long run. That may be something that is appealing to some people. But at the same time, I don't want that. You know, I want the entire package. I want to be able to go 1v1 someone on Rust again. You know, I want to be able to run through the pathways of Havana and shotgun people with my Spaz 12. I want all of this. I don't just want the campaign. So if this is to be believed, which it certainly seems to be a relatively believable story here, then I'm going to be sincerely disappointed. I sincerely am going to be disappointed in that. We'll see what happens. You can check out charlieintel.com for all of the latest information on Call of Duty, as they do very well when it comes to reporting on everything COD related. But our final news story of the morning: classic Nickelodeon games are returning thanks to THQ Nordic. SpongeBob, Invader Zim, Rocco, and more are coming soon to consoles. This is coming to us from Polygon's Allegra Frank. You can also follow her on Twitter at LegsFrank. I love these little side notes here whenever it talks about their Twitter profiles, because that's always just good fun. Several Nickelodeon series from the past 2+ decades are heading to modern consoles with the help from THQ Nordic. The companies have partnered to bring back a number of games from the Nickelodeon catalog starting this year. THQ Nordic has announced. They have not revealed which specific games it plans on remastering or re-releasing, instead naming the franchises that it plans to revive. On the list are some obvious choices: SpongeBob SquarePants, Fairly OddParents, Avatar: The Last Airbender, as well as a few surprising picks. Although fans of a certain age may remember cartoons like Back at the Barnyard and Cat Scratch, neither one is likely to inspire much nostalgia. Here's the full list of Nickelodeon series whose games the company plans to re-release, and we have, and I quote, Avatar: The Last Airbender, Back at the Barnyard, Cat Scratch, Danny Phantom, El Tigre, Invader Zim, Jimmy Neutron, My Life as a Teenage Robot. Wow, I haven't thought about that show in a hot minute. Rocket Power, Rocco's Modern Life, Rugrats, SpongeBob SquarePants, Tak and the Power of Juju, Fairly OddParents, US only, The Ren and Stimpy Show, and The Wild Thornberrys. Smashing. Regardless, THQ Nordic and Nickelodeon's partnership is meant to speak to one of the game's publishers' stated goals: ensuring that older properties are able to find new life with modern audiences. THQ Nordic has previously revived and remastered games like Darksiders and has announced plans to do the same with PlayStation 2 era game Destroy All Humans. Nordic has also a history with Nickelodeon. The original THQ Incorporated held the Nickelodeon license prior to its liquidation in 2013. Nordic Games later bought THQ in 2014, a year after the company declared bankruptcy. It's unclear when we'll see Tak and the Power of Juju, a rare Nickelodeon property that started life as a video game, SpongeBob's various games, and the rest of the series back on shelves, but THQ Nordic plans to reveal more in the coming months. Exciting opportunities here. exciting opportunities here, because when it comes to games that come from franchises like the Wild Thornberrys, like the Fairly Odd Parents, like SpongeBob, obviously, I would say even Rocko's Modern Life. These other ones, maybe Jimmy Neutron, perhaps Invader Zim. There is a lot of nostalgia here, a lot of value in the nostalgia of these games. And to see them coming back just brings to my mind all of the potential that comes with that. You know, there's so much potential within all of these franchises to really bring back something special to what they've got going on with the gaming space today. I would love to see the Wild Thornberrys take off and become one of the best games that is coming out on the modern generation of consoles, as far as, you know, an entry-level kind of platformer or kind of 3D platformer or puzzler, whatever it may be, whatever kind of game may come out. I would love to see it take off on consoles and then revive the show. That's kind of what I want the end game to be. I would love to see, you know, Ren and Snippy make a comeback because of the games being so popular. Rocko's Modern Life would have such a high amount of charm these days. But the reason this is happening is because 90s kids are growing up. 90s kids are wanting to relive their childhoods, so to speak. 90s kids are excited about what's happening, and they want to see their favorite franchises that they grew up with make a comeback. That's why you have people going back and watching reruns of old shows. That's why you have 90s music being so popular right now. Everybody is trying to escape what's happening in the real world, and so that's what we're seeing with these games coming back out. Now, I'm not sure which ones are going to be remastered. I think that they're pretty accurate in saying that SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom will more than likely become, you know, a remastered game, I suppose. But on top of the value that it does bring to the table, it's also worth asking the question of, do we need these games? You know, do we actually need to have all of these games from all these various franchises coming to modern generation consoles, or is it pretty much just fluff? Is it just stuff to pad the catalog? Is it just stuff to throw it out there and see what sticks? If somebody wants it, they can come buy it. If somebody wants to check it out, they certainly can. What is the situation here? You know, why are they bringing these games back? I don't know that they'll find an audience. I don't know that they'll find widespread success. I certainly think that a game like SpongeBob, or a game like perhaps the Fairly Odd Parents, I think those could have a potential, you know, in, so to speak. But like back at the Barnyard, Avatar, Cat Scratch, Danny Phantom, these are all ones that I don't have a lot of faith in. I don't know that they can do incredibly well when it comes to how a remaster would normally be expected to perform. I don't think they have that kind of potential in them. I suppose we'll just have to see what it's got going on, but that is going to be coming at some point in the next couple of years. I don't know when these games are supposed to be released, but hopefully relatively soon, and I'm excited to see what happens with it, because whenever a game is released in this way, shape, and form, it's always an interesting time. You know, you're always excited to see what exactly happens with this kind of release, and it's going to be a very unique one, I would say. However, that's pretty much the entirety of the show today. We don't really have that many more stories to cover. There is no new news. However, I want to thank you for joining me this morning. If you're watching live on mixer.com/thesamueladams, it's been a fantastic little show. I'm going to be going live here in just a couple of minutes to hang out, play some games, grind out some... we might play some Fortnite. There's that new Blitz mode that's been pretty popular lately that I would like to jump back into before I have to go off and do the regular day-to-day things. However, if you're listening to the audio version of this podcast, or if you are checking out the VOD on youtube.com/SamuelAdamsMedia, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Leave me a rating on iTunes, leave me a thumbs up down below if you dig the show. But of course, I will be live again tomorrow morning, Friday, for the Friday show, which is going to be the week anniversary of starting this entire little thing that I've got going on. It's pretty exciting stuff, and I'm excited for what the future does hold for the show itself. But as for right now, thank you guys for checking out Caffeinate. I hope you have a fantastic day. I hope you got caffeinated with me, and I will talk to you soon. Peace.